Hi, welcome to our podcast. Today we're going to talk about the handbook and curriculum from stressed out to stressless. Hi, Yella.
Hello, Daniel.
I would like that you introduce yourself a bit and your experience, where you come from, just for us to start this talk a bit more distressing a bit.
I can see about language.
As we're going to talk about stress, it's also very important to show like them that everyone can suffer from stress in different times and different situations, and this is one example of that. From me and our experience that we always have stress related.
A bit of stress.
Yes.
Because any new situation, and this is new for both of us,
Yes.
is a bit stressful. But it is what motivates us, and depends how much you can endure. So my name is Jelena Ilic. I'm a psychologist working in a field of youth education, within the non-formal education for many, many years now. Stress management is one of my favorite topics, but I am dealing with social and emotional learning of youngsters, young people, kids, and the ones who are actually working with them, their teachers or youth workers for many, many years now.
Oh, very nice. Mm-hmm. And from what the title suggests, from stressed out to stressless. Mm-hmm. Why? How came like this title, and why? Mm-hmm. Can you explain a bit for us?
Yes, I think the title is on purpose. So we wanted to, in a inviting way, not to scare our readers or our colleague youth workers as well, just pass the message that life without stress is impossible. It's almost as the stress is equal to life. Like the minute we are born, we are screaming out of everything that shocked us. So we didn't want to pass the message like that the training or the curriculum, that the training was based on, is something that will lead you toward the life without stress.
Yes.
Because it's impossible. So that's the reason why the title is on purpose like that. Let's just say that we need a little more less stressful life and work.
And that's very important, like also to demystify stress. That's an important thing, like for everyone, youth workers, young people, and I don't know who works in the government, formal education, non-formal education, is how to manage, because like that we have, when you read the word stress, we already get stressed.
Yes.
And became also so usual to our life to say, I'm stressed.
Yes. Yes. The mindset we have about stress is actually influencing how we deal with it. Yeah. So there are some studies that show that people who see stress in a kind of challenging but still positive way, the stress has the almost in 30% less effect or negative effect on them than those who actually see stress in a negative, with a negative mindset. So how we perceive, how we see it, or what kind of attitude we have toward having stress being stressed in life, actually influence how much capacities we have to deal with it.
And as we were talking about stress, and then you said also your experience and also your background, we brought this, Austria brought like 3 different expertises on that, And what is fascinating about is like to see this synergy between you, you know, the three of you. And I'd like that you explain me a bit how it is. One of the expertise is Antonija Lelas, and another one is Sabine Hebib. And I'd like that you explain how that came together, how that melted together, just for us to know also the background and how it's really important to have the synergy between different experiences, different background, and also one thing that also glue everything is the youth worker. You know, can you explain us a bit more about that?
I think that what actually glued us is a kind of a choice we made that working with young people is priority in our professional life. And what happened is that young people choose the topic first. So even before COVID showed that young people were really, really affected by pandemic and everything that it brought to our lives. During the process of creating a youth agenda for the future program that was 2017-18, when Youth Agenda came to life in 2019, youth goal number 5 was dealing with mental health. So young people already then recognized that being able to deal with mental health is one of their priorities, and that they need more support how to do it. And one of the strategies suggested within the 5th youth goal was to learn different strategies you need to deal with daily stress, daily life stresses. So this is why we choose, because young people choose it, we choose it as well. And then we gathered, bringing maybe 2-3 different perspectives. The first one is that we have a colleague who is directly working as a counselor with young people, and she is a young person, under 30. So she's a psychologist, she's working with young people and being a young person. So we had up-to-date insight about what are actually the real troubles and triggers and issues young people are dealing today. And the second perspective is a perspective that comes from being a youth worker or youth work trainer a long time. So we wanted really to make the best of methodology we have within the youth work, using non-formal methodology and all the principles and values we have in it, to be able to create a program that will fit the need of young people related to their abilities to cope with daily stress and enhance their overall well-being and mental health.
And also for youth workers, now that we are talking about.
So we all know that being a youth worker is one of the most stressful, maybe occupation or a choice of career. I think youth workers, they really love what they do, and often you can hear they are burnout. So we wanted that this manual, this handbook, is both for them and for young people they work with, because first you take care of yourself to be able to take care of others.
And that's very important for us to recognize that we also need to take care of ourselves, because being a youth worker, we know that we go through so many things and change for one to 1 to 10 like in 5 minutes, and we need that. We need to also to understand cope styles, what works for me, that sometimes is not the same for you. I can dance, you can listen to music, and that's a very good insightful that the handbook brings, is also to show the gamma of the styles that we can use for ourselves, no?
Yeah, this is why we chose this holistic approach to have, because we think that when you are under stress, so your whole being is under stress, your body is stressed, you have this automatic reaction, your mind is working differently, emotions arise, we are full of hormones and everything, yes, and then as well we somehow react differently toward our social environment. So being under the stress really affects us on all different levels, and this is why we wanted to have a approach that is covering all these aspects of us, and how, by learning about how body reacts, how emotions are floating through us, and or how can we prepare our mind to maybe rethink the stressful situation, and use maybe even some of our social skills. How we this is the approach we choose, and for that I need to say that our psychological background came into use, because we needed to tackle all different symptoms that stress can arise in us, both body symptoms of the physiology of stress, then emotional side of, and then we could do a little bit emotional learning, and then we at the end tackle some cognitive skills and or social skills, or let's say how to calm your thoughts, or look at your thoughts in a way that they are not affecting you, yes, or come up with some problem solving techniques, and managing the priorities, or have the best choices we can in life. So this is what we call like a holistic approach to learning about stress management.
That's very important, and also one thing that is very insightful and very much helpful is, and also is in our webinar, when we have the stress performance, the graphic, and then remember that we have the stress level that we feel comfortable when you are like at home watching TV and all that. There is another one that is actually the level that help us, to motivate us to go here and do that and start and washing the dishes. And another, the last one is when you recognize that we are in the red zone, that like it's a burnout situation. Can you explain a bit about that performance? I know that I tackle a bit on here, but this is so very important. It's so helpful also to visualize and to recognize that stress is not totally bad, but also we need to recognize the phase that we are in. And can you just give a bit more insight? Doesn't need to be that long.
So, if you are, let's imagine that you don't have any stress in life. I think we would be like very lazy. It would be difficult to get out from the bed in the morning, all the time on the vacation. So it would be very questionable what actually we will then achieve in life. So we needed but there is a big difference is being stressed in a way that it in a positive way influence our productivity, and being stressed so long or so intensively that at some point your brain shuts out, or you are emotionally so endured that you start develop variety of emotional issues that are affecting your work. You know, you can often hear people say, or I work so good under the stress.
Yes, true.
And then they broke. So what to do not to have a burnout? We all heard about this word. So, as I said, there is a kind of optimal level of stress that we all need to fill out our tasks, finish our exams, write our reports. Or so both youth workers and young people they are working with, we all need an optimum stress in life just to function. But there is this, I would say, already a trend or a culture that being constantly overstressed is something that makes us more of a kind of valuable, or we will reach higher higher things in life if we are constantly exhausting ourselves.
The importance of the stress in our life now.
Yes. So not to do that, I think there are a few things we both, as the people who are working with young people and young people, need to be aware of, is that stress always happens in our body in the same way. No matter if you are stressed for a good cause or you are distressed about the negative triggers or unpleasant, stressful situations, the body reacts the same, always the same, and we call it gas. Young people will easily remember it. So gas is a general adaptation syndrome that has 3 phases, or can have even more. So the first is the one that we all know. This is this alarm phase, when we get a lot of energy in our body, that is enabling us to fight or flight, to deal with the problem, with the situation. Yes, and we can actually profit a lot from this situation, because the way we perceive our surroundings is more sharp and focused. We get a lot of energy by coming from the heart that is pumping very fast, and we are quite agile. But then what naturally happens, how body reacts, so this is our body's way to solve the problem, is that body comes in a second phase, and that's called resistance. Yes, and that's a phase that is needed for body to repair from this explosion of energy from the first phase. And somehow naturally body slows down. If we are prolonged in this second phase, we can really slow down. Our digestive system slows down. The immune response is not correct one. We can feel fatigue, chronic fatigue, and this kind of thing. So this is a resistance toward this the boost of energy. Yes, but there is a third episode that happens and happens naturally is the thing when we feel exhausted, we need to pause. We need a break. So this break is the most natural way how we deal with the stress. So the body gets again on the, let's say, on a level ready for another stress.
Functioning again, no?
Yes. So it's a kind of a circle.
Yeah.
If this third phase, if the break, the pause, the nap, you can go for a nap. You can have a breathing exercise.
Yes.
You can meditate. You can actually just stop and go do something that will help your body to relax, because relaxation is what we need at that point.
That's the key word.
Not going to run or going to evoke more energy. We really need to slow down to be able to come on the, let's say, a zero level.
Yeah.
If you don't have this third phase of gas, we never go back to zero level. We learn to adapt our functioning on a level of being constantly under adrenaline, adding cortisol, hormone reactions in our body, and then these reactions, physical reactions, are constantly influencing our physical states, and it can eventually, because we don't have this zero starting point, we are actually thinking that we are productive and that we can do it more and more and more and more, but actually body gets more and more and more and more exhausted, and this is how burnout happens. So burnout is I would say a total loss of all resources
that you have.
That we had.
Yeah.
And the only way then to come up again on the level of normal functioning is to take a long break. So not to take a long break. It's very important to have a balance of your work and creative part of life, fun part of life, social part of life, emotional. So one strategy that young person or young people should learn from us is how to balance all this.
Yeah. Now to recognize, this, when you're just adding this full of energy again and again.
Or admit yourself that you need to stop if you want to go further and you have, if you want to have more. There is this, I would say, we call it hustle culture. So young people are living in a age, I would say this time, this moment is so demanding
with
to
social
them.
media, with everything's coming now.
Yes, they have like double lives. They have a real life, and then they have their lives and their identities in a virtual world. Then you have a global crisis, climate crisis, political crisis, economical, and all the other adolescent crises that already are part of life. This developmental period. So it's really a lot for them to cope. Yes. And I believe if we wait too long, they will all need to go to psychotherapy at some point. Like the depression will be in a few years the second
illness that you come
yes,
much more.
Yes.
And it's interesting that you say that, because we that work with young people, we see that more and more they already come to the activity very stressed. It's a lot of pressure. Is a pressure the environment, the social environment that they are. Social media is one of that influence so much for that, because you not just compare yourself, because when you adolescent you compare yourself. You know, it's how you is this level of stress that put you up there to do things. But also now we don't have like the comparison just in our local community or like our peers. We compare ourselves with the world. You know, social media, everything become so maximize everything. The pressure is maximized, the stress is maximized. And then my last question for you is like, do you think that all this, when we talk about well-being and mental health, we need to come back a bit like early ages? How would be ideal for us to start to talk with young people about well-being or mental health, and what's your point of view on that?
Well, I believe that you can approach to learning about stress management with a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
We don't need to wait, because stress management is very closely related to body regulation, developing of emotional vocabulary of kids, developing social skills for teenagers, to express themselves, to feel better, to raise their self-esteem, to know how to manage difficult decisions or something that is important to them. So everything that enchants their strengths and help them balance their life, their tasks, their relations, it would be helpful.
Yes.
We really don't need to wait till they develop some serious, or we call them, so youth workers needs to be aware about these red flags.
The red flags.
Yeah, the behaviors that are more just than reaction to stress. So, and it's in a manual, you can check it.
The subtle red flags there.
Yes, but learning about how to breathe in your normal rhythm, how to become, so learning kids and youngsters about importance of conscious breathing. It can happen very early, both in schools or in kids clubs, youth clubs, and there are such various methods that you can actually use to teach them that. You can use drawings, you can use movement, you can use meditative practice, but everybody can learn how to become more conscious about the way they breathe, and that's already a lot.
Yes.
Because when you become aware and you practice conscious breathing, then your awareness actually is growing, is spreading. By spreading your awareness about your breathing, you can become more conscious or more aware what actually is else happening in your body.
Health, your body, like already
and then your body is telling you, oh, I'm feeling this or I'm feeling this. Then emotional awareness comes to the front. And then by becoming more emotionally aware and adding the emotional vocabulary to youngsters, we are helping them regulate.
Yeah.
So they don't need to control. If we control how we feel, we make a mess with our capacities to be resilient. So the first step of resilience, I would say, is becoming aware, letting yourself feel like this or like this, like that, and then learn how to regulate. And regulation, there are many tools and many skills that every youth worker can learn how to practice first. For them, it's good to practice, and then how to pass it on. It's really not like science of it. People all around the world use different techniques for relaxation.
And when you are aware of that, we also learn also by yourself, or you can find also techniques by yourself how to cope with that. And it's a practice.
Yes.
We know that takes a time, is a practice, and also when you start to recognize your body, recognize your feelings, and have this regulation, open so much other channels,
Exactly. And as an added value, when you do it within the non-formal education, and when you do it with a group, there is something that I always say as well. Our personal resilience comes from being safe in interaction with some other important other. From this interaction and this relationship, we actually become resilient. So we remind our youngsters that resilience is not only a capacity that the individual has, it is at the same time the network of those who can help us in a difficult times. So for them to become more aware of that, you actually need to create a group, so they remind themselves that being in the supported by the group, understood by the group, you need trust in people. You need to feel safe. You need to feel connected. You need to feel included, and then you have a safety network that actually helps you grow more resilient. And this is why non-formal education within the youth work is a perfect surrounding to create this type of atmosphere, just to remind young people how other people are important for us.
It's really important to have a sense of community and a safe environment.
Yes, because social isolation is one of the biggest stress triggers for them in life.
Jela, I would like to thank you very much for this interview. And I would like to extend my thank you for Antonija Lelas and Sabine Hebib. And
now we feel less stressed.
Less stress. You see how the body changes. You see. Thank you, everyone, and I hope that the handbook with curriculum and also the webinar and podcast helps you and helps your community and helps you to interact with your peers. Thank you very much. See you next.